Humanist. Welcome back to the Preaching Humanist with David Oliverio. That is I. It's been a while since I've been at the studio because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I hope everybody's doing well and doing safe and we can get through this thing together. So I'm going to do my shows until we get back to the studio here in my little bitty apartment in South Austin. As you can see, not very professional, but hey, I'm going to do what I can do. Quick two-part series on the 10 humanist commitments. For those of us who identify as atheists and agnostics, we want to continue a life of ethics, morals, and an ethical lifestyle. These are commitments that we can do as unbelievers, and they're not the commandments. These are non-coercive for those of us that want to live a life of value and so forth. Number one commitment is empathy. I will, as a humanist, consider other people's thoughts, feelings, and experiences, otherwise known in psychology as TOM, the theory of mind. We don't know what other people's thoughts are. We don't understand the causation of their actions. If they treated us in a bad way, we don't know what is going on in their mind. This is called empathy because we attempt to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. All right, number two is individual responsibility. I, as a humanist, am responsible for the consequences of my own actions. Personal responsibility. Unlike what a book in chapters 1, 2, and 3 of the Bible, you remember those old stories? Says, according to Genesis chapter 3, and thankfully a lot of progressive liberal Christians have figured this out, that it's just a myth, right? They've gone on beyond these myths. But according to the Bible, in Genesis chapter 3, Adam and Eve walked in the Garden of Eden with God. And they walked and talked in a relationship with God. They were forbidden to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For the day that thou surely eatest, thou shalt surely die. So the consequences were punishment and expelling from the Garden of Eden, that magical place, allegedly, where there were talking snakes and everything you'd want to live in a paradise. So the story goes on that Adam and Eve disobeyed God, and the consequence they had to suffer was they were cast out of the garden. Now, that's bad, but it gets even worse. The bad part is that now, according to the Bible, all have sinned and come short of the glory of God, right? Every man, woman, and child born is guilty of sin. They have a sin nature built into them, and they need the Redeemer, Jesus Christ, to be free from this sin and free from the wrath of God, because of what someone else did 6,000 years ago in a magical garden. Folks, this is a fairy tale. This doesn't make any logical sense. So reality is we are responsible for our own actions and our own consequences. Number three, global awareness. This is a good one. I will, as a humanist, be a good neighbor to the people who share the earth with me and help make the world a better place for everyone. A smart guy by the name of Tommy Paine once said, "My country is the world, my race is human, and my religion is to do good." Global awareness. A universal worldview is humanism that transcends the level of small group relationships, xenophobism, and tribalism. Now, I always hear believers through the years sing this song called God Bless America. You've heard it many times. God bless America, land that I love. But I've often wanted to ask them, why don't you ask your God that you believe in, and you have a right to believe in this and to sing this song, but why don't you ask this God to bless the entire world, all people, all races, the human race, not just America. All right, and number 4 commitment is humility. I will be aware of my strengths and weaknesses and appreciate the strengths and the weaknesses of others. Folks, this is true humility versus false humility. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. We've heard for years and years, right, from the teachings of Jesus allegedly in the Bible. That's brokenness. That's false humility. That's saying, like the Bible says in the Gospel of John, that I could do nothing good without God. I'm the vine, Jesus said. You are the branches. Unless you abide in me and connect in me, and I in you, you can do nothing. Well, that's ridiculous. We know that. We recognize as humanists our strengths and our weaknesses, and the strengths and weaknesses of other people. Now, I can use myself as a quick example, and I've got about 2 or 3 things in my life that I can say are my strengths. And I'm very, very good at these things. And immediately, when I discuss true humility to believers, they'll tell me, that's arrogant, David. That's prideful. When I say I have 2 or 3 strengths, I'm very, very, very good at these things. But I've got many things I'm not good at. Well, number one, I've been in the realm of fitness and health for many, many years. Over 42, 43 years of working out. I'm a retired semi-pro duathlete, like a triathlete or duathlete, right? I've done races all over Texas for 11 or 12 years. I retired in 2010. Lots of trophies. I was ranked in the top 4 in the state for my age group for all those years. I traveled, did races around Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, New Mexico, Arkansas. So every other weekend, 9 months a year, I was busy racing, bike run racing. So I know about fitness and health, and not only that, I'm a personal trainer. I've got many certifications. I do this for a living until my honey bunny lets me retire in a few years. So I know a lot about fitness and health. I've got over close to 45 years experience in health, nutrition, and fitness. That's a strength of mine. Another one is what I do now. I've been on both sides. I've been a Christian activist as a young preacher in the 70s and 80s. And now I'm a secular humanist atheist activist for many years. So I can say these 2 things I'm pretty dang good at. I know a lot about. But there are many, many more things that I'm not good at. I do not excel in other things. I depend upon the division of labor. I depend upon other people, being connected to them for their strengths. Their strengths help me in my weakness. My strengths help other people in their weakness. We need each other. No one can succeed nor remain successful without the friendly cooperation of others. I think of John Steinbeck, the great novelist, American novelist, who wrote the great novel, The Grapes of Wrath. In one of his diaries, I had to learn and quote this because it's very relevant to myself, and I will quote it. I am assaulted every day from my own weaknesses, my own inabilities, my own poor little brain, and my own ignorance. No one else knows my inabilities as much as I do. I push back against this every day, and I can say that's true for me. So we all have strengths and weaknesses. And number 5 is environmentalism. I will take care of the earth and the life on it. And we mean all life. Sentient animals, non-sentient, animals that are self-conscious and non-self-conscious animals, and all plant life, flora and fauna. So yes, we want to take care of the earth. We only have one earth and one life. We want to take care of it. As opposed to another worldview. I had a discussion with get this, a female Pentecostal preacher. She knew who I was. She was a receptionist at this client's business. And my client was a Pentecostal Christian himself. Now, this lady knew who I was and what I'm about. So she was telling me, she said, David, you atheists and you secular people don't understand. You're all worried about globalism and environmentalism and saving the planet. For we who trust Jesus, we know that Jesus will return one day and he'll fix everything. He'll clean up the world. It's going to be okay, David. We don't have to worry about saving the planet. But we who live in reality, we push for alternative fuels, recycling. We want less carbon footprint. We believe in climate change. And we want to control the population. Interesting to know, back in 1975, when I was a senior in high school, that's a long time ago. That's, I think, 45 years ago. The world population was 3.5 billion. Give you a little perspective here. Now it's 7.5 billion or so in the year 2020. So there are a lot of things that we can do for the environment. So these are the first 5 commitments of humanism. Stay tuned for the next episode, and we will discuss part 2, the 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Have a wonderful day, and remember to let the light of secular humanism shine. Have a good day.
What are we doing, man? What are we doing?
No, you're done.